Hello, welcome to a new video, guys. This is Kartik Goswami. I'm a fourth year medical student. I'm on my last few months of med school, and I'm here to get back to you guys, making videos for you guys, plenty of content. Make sure that everyone who wants to get into med school, everyone that's in med school and currently going to med school can have resources that they need, because I remember when I went to med school, it was overwhelming. There was so much going on and I didn't know what to do. So this video is gonna be about exactly what you should know before joining med school. So we're gonna go over exactly what you should expect in med school, how you should even be mentally ready, and what the differences are, and whether this is the right path for you. And this is coming from personal experience for myself, all my personal experiences through med school and through all my friends and what their opinions are on med school. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'd say med school is very, very different than college. It's no longer like you go to classes sometime and then you come home, you can study a little bit, study for your test, you have a midterm coming up, your final, you're done, move on, next class. Med school is not like that. Med school is, for a lot of people, optional classes. You don't even have to go to most classes. For some med schools, you have to go to all classes. Very different amongst different med schools. But regardless of which one you go to, there's all about self-study. Now, I know people are like, oh, I self-studied in college, I learned everything by myself. The professor didn't teach me. But in med school, it's self-studying to the max. Like literally, it's almost like there's almost nobody here guiding you or leading you with a helping hand. It's just you and the material, and you got to figure out how to ace the exam, which I don't really agree on. I think that's not the best way to go about med school, but that's what it seems to be like across the country and across the globe as well. So med school is really more about self-studying, even more, and you got to really adapt into that. And it's really hard the first couple of blocks when you start med school, because it's a big jump and a challenge. This is why me and my friends created the drjourney.com website you can go look on right now. And we are here to make sure that you guys feel like you have a helping hand along the way. Because if you're anything like me, I struggled a lot during my med school. I felt like I didn't know what to do. I had to figure out new ways to do things. And there wasn't someone I could really reach out to, or a group of people that really knew what they were doing or had gone through the whole experience. So that's why I'm here trying to help you guys and make sure you guys have an easier time than I did. On top of this, med school is less of a social type of schooling than like college was. College was a lot more social. And yes, you can still be really social in med school. You can still be very social in med school. But on average, you're gonna be solo studying a lot of the time. And especially absorbing the amount of material that's in med school is gonna take a lot of time out of you. And that in itself, cuts out a lot of your social activity time, which doesn't mean you're gonna be a loner the whole med school. You can still hang out with friends and still have time. But don't expect to be, part of like frats and going out like 2-3 times a week. Maybe you'll go like once a week now. You gotta be a little realistic. Med school is more about the study periods, but it's only 4 years of med school. And then, you go into training and stuff after, but the grind of actual studying all day long is only for a couple years. Even on those 4 years of med school, you're only gonna be studying in the classroom for 2 of them. The third and fourth year are more on-the-go rotations, which is way more fun. You're actually enjoying what you've learned the first 2 years. Next thing I gotta say, med school is hard. Like hard, very hard. This isn't to dissuade you or anything. I'm being real here. It's coming from someone who considers himself, like average amongst the people who are getting into med school. It's a hard challenge, but I have no doubt if anyone is really persistent enough and focused on becoming a doctor, they can do this. No doubt at all. It takes a lot of growth and challenges, and keep on growing every single year. There's new challenges every year in med school, and just being able to adapt and grow and be persistent is gonna push you through it. The material is brand new. Even if you got over immunology in like college and you go to immunology in med school, it's totally different. Like what I covered in, I think it was 4 months of immunology in college, I covered that in 3 days in med school. All of that we did in 4 months, plus more detail. So that just kind of puts into perspective how fast paced it is, but the human mind can adapt to anything. And as long as we're able to be like, okay, so how am I gonna tackle it, break it down in little pieces and then start tackling it, that's how you're gonna excel. You gotta break it down into small, manageable pieces and make sure that you give yourself that mental break so you can mentally keep pushing on and on. Make sure you give yourself some mental rest, because the grind is really hard, but you can do this with persistence and giving yourself adequate breaks. And kind of just like how I mentioned, material is very long. There's a lot of material to cover in med school. You're going over every body system, everything of it, all the drugs, all the pathology, histology, everything you can imagine, that's all gonna be covered during your med school curriculum. So there's a lot of material to learn, and most people and most med schools learn it within the 2 years. So you're basically learning a lot of information. So just be prepared. I mean, you're going into becoming a doctor, you know? You're one of the most educated people on our planet Earth. So, you know, it's gonna take some effort, but it's very, very doable, very manageable. Just get mentally prepared. I was not mentally prepared. It took me a while to actually absorb this. But they have this analogy people say of, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. Just water rushing at you and you just have your mouth open, globbing with information. That's kind of how it is. There's a lot of information, but you kind of figure out what's going to be valuable, what's high yield. And again, if you go to the drjourney.com, we have like resources highlighted when you're studying for boards. Those are the high yield stuff you need to be doing. And you can do that during your school years as well. And we'll have plenty of more resources out there for everyone in med school. And then this next thing I want to talk about is kind of more personal to me. I felt more like an adult in med school versus in college. I felt like there were more responsibilities. Not only was I studying so much, but I had to figure out, okay, when can I do the things I actually need to, like cook, sleep, work out, just things that keep me, you know? And then figuring out even how to record these videos. In my 3rd year, I picked this up, and it was a challenge to figure out, wait, how am I gonna do this? And you know, you feel like more of an adult. You have more responsibilities. You figure out how to balance your time better. And that's a vital skill. I think that's very important that we all learn through med school because of just how busy it is. And kind of building off of that, you kind of, in my opinion, find a purpose in life. Now, this isn't gonna happen for every single one of you guys watching this, but some of you guys maybe already found it. That's why you're going to med school. But some of you guys are just going to med school because it seems like the right path, which was me. Then you find your life purpose during it. And even if you aren't clear on it, like I'm not 100% clear, you're just more aware of what you need to be doing in this planet. And I really think med school really opened that for me because I was challenged a lot in many different aspects in med school. And I feel like I've grown so much that I have more of a vision of the type of person I want to be. And I think everyone sort of goes through that because in med school, you get to see actual patients, not like as you did shadowing in college or high school. You actually get to help take care of them, even if it's a little bit, especially during 3rd or 4th year. And that kind of brings in a lot of new openings to the mind. You're like, whoa, people can go through this. Imagine what they're going through right now. How can I help? I want to really help make them feel better. Like for me, I really like connecting with patients, especially those that were, you know, in grave situations. I really like talking to them, hearing them out, seeing how I could help them, support them, and what we could do for them. So that's something that I think is something that I really personally grew in. And everyone will have a little bit of growth for sure, but finding that life purpose, I think you can go through that in med school if you haven't already. And it just opens your eyes to everything in the world from a medical perspective. Now, this might seem obvious, you're going to med school, but like even in general life, you're going about, now this may turn off a few people, but like when you're going out and about, just in normal life, you might start thinking about like random medical things. It's not the best, but like at the same time, it's kind of cool understanding at what level like this person's like, you know, this person has a fever right now, or this person's wearing a mask. Are they sick? Are they having a virus and developed in them? Do they have a bacterium? Are they going to be able to respiratorily disperse it, or is it contact dispersed? Should I wash my hands if I'm shaking their hand? Should I even be in their vicinity? Blah, blah, blah. Like there's so many different things now you can think of. That wasn't the greatest of examples, but there's so many different thoughts you have once you have more knowledge of this medical education. And I think it's great. You see a world from a different perspective, and the more perspectives you have in your lifetime, I'd say the more better of a human you are, because you can see things from different views. And the last 2 things I want to say are kind of more tips. Making a schedule or making a general thing, like I have to do this during the day, or if you want to be like super erotic, you can just have a general schedule, like what to do in the day. Like let's say I have to do UWorld, I have to study these slides, I have to do these questions, I have to read this book. You know, that's how I do it. I kind of just write out what I have to do in the day and just check mark them as I do. Just flip-flop what I want to do at the time. But you can be like other people who are really neurotic. Like you can have a time you want to do this time you want to do this time you want to do this. You could do that as well, but it all depends on how you want to approach it, but you need to have a schedule. I really feel like that'll help you so much. And the last thing before my mic gives out, that's why I keep looking down, is it gets better. It really does get better. It's really hard, but you can overcome these challenges. You grow towards them, stay persistent, be adaptable, and keep the end goal in mind while you're here. Have a real good why and keep pushing for that. That's gonna help you a lot through med school. So there you go. That's what you should expect of med school from my perspective. Again, I'm Kartik Goswami. I'm an M4 in California. And if you want more information on anything about med school, go to thedoctorjourney.com. It's a growing medical education platform me and my peers have started, and we're here for your help. Reach out to us anytime. Our email is thedoctorjourney21@gmail.com. And in the meantime, stay healthy and stay happy, everyone. Bye-bye.